One. Good afternoon, everybody. Your History Bros here. Jeff, along with
Mark. What's going on?
Hope you guys are having a good day and ready to talk a little bit about the First World War. And specifically, we're not going to get into that because that's a little bit of a giant topic. We could talk about that literally for the next couple of months, but kind of what started it. Interesting stories. Interesting. What'd you learn about Franz Ferdinand? I mean, what an interesting guy he was, right?
Franz Ferdinand, yeah, not the band.
Not the band, although every time you search for that, that's the first thing that comes up. When
you got to, you got to go down to like page 2 or 3 before you get to the real Franz Ferdinand. But exactly. So he was an Archduke. Do you know what an Archduke is?
Well, I think it's something you're about to tell me, Mark. What's it?
I was like, that's kind of a cool title. I have no idea what it is. So it's an Archduke or an Archduchess, because there can be a female in the position.
Sophie, I guess, would have been the Archduchess, his wife. And
that's right. Yeah, there's some interesting story on her too.
This just happened a couple days ago too, by the way, right? Is June 28th of 1914 is the anniversary, the 108th anniversary, I guess it would be.
Yeah, I can carry and do the math. That sounds good. 108th. But yeah, of his assassination. Yeah.
Now, World War One. At this time in Europe, which is interesting, Europe was, and Mark, you used it kind of in our pre-talk. It was a powder keg. I mean, literally, with Europe at that time. I liken it to the fact that they just had all these weapons, and someone needed to use them. World War One was going to happen, no matter if this happened or not. They hadn't had a really good old European slugfest since the 1870s, the Franco-Prussian Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
Really, and so this was like ready to roll. Their arms race at the time. Do you know what the arms race at the time was?
What's that? What?
Dreadnoughts, battleships. So instead of missiles, instead of aircraft carriers, it was dreadnought battleships. Everyone was trying to, Britain had hegemony on the seas. They were the big dogs. France was the old kind of grandfather of Europe. Germany wanted their place in the sun. Germany wanted to go out and build an empire because they looked over and see, because they hadn't been unified since 1870, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they're looking around going, we want what Britain's got and what France has got. So you've got all these alliances. Hey, Mark, if someone on Twitter says anything bad about you, I'm going to kick their ass.
Pretty much. Yeah. There was a lot of those going on. Right. I mean, and that's kind of what created the powder kick, because he was like, I got your back, you got mine, but this dude's like, I got yours and I got this dude. So it's like, you've got Austria-Hungary and Russia, I think it was.
It was Russia?
No, I'm sorry. It was Austria-Hungary and Germany. They were
yes, they were aligned. Yes.
They were homies, yeah. Russia and Serbia were homies, and then you had France and Russia. So Russia's kind of peppered all throughout there. Britain and France were and Belgium were homies, and then you had Japan and Britain. So it's like all connected. So basically, if you mess with one, he's going to jump in, and then he has to jump in. So it's just like you say, it was a matter of time. And so the what I really enjoyed about reading on Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke, is that a lot of people who haven't really dug into this might say World War One was caused because this assassination. One man died, and because one man died, hundreds of thousands of other young men had to die, and it's really just not the case. I mean, it was inevitable with all these alliances. Somebody was going to piss somebody off, and it was just going to be like just a chain reaction.
They really thought it was going to be this jolly little war. In June, they thought, everyone said, we'll be home by Christmas. This will be over by Christmas. Little did they know that was not to be the case. What a mess World War One turned out to be. And just like you said, it was like a bar fight. I'm friends with this guy over here, and this guy's friends with this guy, but happens to be friends with the guy that's going to beat my ass. It became a gigantic mess before World War One. So to your point, inevitable. So what did they need? They needed a match to light this powder keg. What was the match's name?
Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Sorry.
Which we've realized Archduke is possibly the new cool title, and I really would like it if you'd start calling me that from here on. So
you got it, the Archduke Jeff.
Archduke Jeff, I think that's
so the Archduke basically is, from what I read, it's like you've got king or emperor, whatever you're calling it. You've got a prince, and kind of right in between is the Archduke. In some countries, they might put the Archduke below the prince, but he's basically up there.
He was below the prince because he wasn't really the first person in the line of succession. His brother was.
You're right. Yeah. So he was. So yeah. In this case, it would have been king, emperor, prince, and then him.
Franz
And
Joseph, his dad, I believe, right? Franz
yep.
Joseph.
Or his dad was, I think, Carl. His uncle was
uncle. That's it.
They're all family.
We try to avoid names and dates on this show for a reason, because what does everybody remember about history class? Names and dates. You can call him Phil. We're going to call him Phil from here on out. Let's just say, though, World War I, powder keg. We're ready to blow up. What happens? Well, here's what happens. One of the biggest jack-ups in history. You talk about a mess up and an accident waiting to happen. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie decide to go and inspect their troops in Sarajevo. What happens, Mark? This is crazy.
So there's a group that doesn't really like the Archduke Ferdinand, and they're called the Black Hand. What a name, right? They're like an organized name. Yeah, they're a group of organized assassins. Maybe not the best, because they found out he's coming, and so they put a guy or two on it to basically blow up his car in the motorcade.
Yeah, seven guys. Seven.
Is it seven? Okay,
seven assassins.
Yeah, seven assassins.
They gave bombs to, some of them they gave pistols to. What they wanted was Bosnian independence. Basically, they wanted to get rid of, not be part of Hungary anymore. They wanted their own independent state. So they sent these 7 people down here because they know they're coming down there, and they were even warned about it apparently by the Hungarian finance minister. So they kind of knew they were there, but it became sort of a thing about a comedy situation, this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really took the Black Hand seriously.
They did not.
But yeah, so whatever, one of these 7 lobs a, I don't know, bomb or some kind of explosive device at the motorcade, and misses the car. It explodes, and Franz Ferdinand.
Did you hear the one? Yeah, actually, you know where it hit? It hit this was a convertible, a Phaeton, this big sport Phaeton. It hit the bonnet, or the top. It was folded down, boing, bounced out, landed underneath the car behind it, blows up the car behind it. So these guys are all injured. And so they take off. And this assassin, they had given him cyanide. They gave him a bomb and cyanide and said, here you go. You know what to do. Unfortunately, you got to do this. So he throws this bomb, he misses, he goes, oh crap, I got to do this anyway. Takes the cyanide, jumps into the river. The river's about 18 inches deep. So he goes, oh man, all that the cyanide made him do was barf uncontrollably. It did nothing. It didn't kill him because it was old cyanide. The guy barfs, they capture him, he's out.
Yeah, cyanide has a shelf life, by the way, apparently.
Who knew this before our research?
Yeah.
So what happens next?
Yeah, so they get away pretty much unscathed. So of course the motorcade's on high alert now, and they back out. I don't know if they go back to the embassy, but they go back to
they went to
a safer place. But did they make a stop on the way, or did they go and get safe and then figure they were safe again and go back out? I don't know the sequence of that, but
they went then to the I believe they went to the state the what do you call it, the city hall. They went to city hall after that. Right. Very safe. Right. They go to meet the mayor. They go through the speech. They do a speech, and Franz Ferdinand's a little bit mad. He goes, basically, I come all the way down here, and you jackasses do this to me. So he wasn't particularly nice in the speech. So off they go, and they go, you know what? We're going to go back, and we're going to go visit these troops. But instead, they decide, you know what? We're going to go be nice people, and we're going to go visit the hospital where these people were injured went.
People injured in the motorcade, that were injured by the
Yep. They went, so they go decide, all right, we're going to go back. The army says, well, you should go back this way. They say, no, you need to go back this way, but someone forgets to tell the motorcade. So this motorcade's going somewhere. Meanwhile, this guy named Gavrilo Princip thinks this whole thing's messed up. He's this Serbian assassin. Well, he turns out those would-be assassin, I guess. So what's he do? Do you know what he does at that point?
What's that? What?
He goes and has a cup of coffee at a cafe.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think he was having a cup of tea or something, but he was. Yeah. Yeah, so it was like pure luck, right? He's at this cafe having tea. He probably knows that, the seven blew it, literally and unliterally, not literally, but yeah, they blew it.
They did.
And he looks over, right, and there is
The driver is sitting here going, "Oh crud, I missed my turn. I'm supposed to go back that way." So he stops the car, he backs up right and stops right in front of the cafe. And Princip's here going, having a drink, he going, huh, I think that's them. He grabs his pistol and his cyanide. He runs over to the car, he takes 2 shots. One hits the Archduke, one hits Sophie, and the rest is history. He was trying to take the cyanide, which again,
it's stale. Probably the same batch that Ricky was trying to take. Nobody's paying attention to the expiration date.
Yeah, so makes him easy to catch.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they didn't. They captured the guy before then, and they send him in. And for assassinating the Archduke, do you know what he got as a sentence?
I don't actually know. What would they?
20 years.
That's it?
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he died 4 years later, I think, in prison of sickness. But yeah, he got 20 years. In fact,
delayed cyanide poisoning probably took 4 years to get him.
We took that cyanide, but it just worked a little later. That's all fine.
Yeah, it's a delay release, slow release capsule.
Yeah, exactly. So here you go. Austria-Hungary's got to go. Got to go dump on
Serbia.
Heads,
yeah,
Serbians' heads. And then, so what happens? Austria-Hungary goes to war. What happens? Germans got to go to war. Germans go to war against them. The French got to go to war against you. The French are going to war. Britain says, wait, us too. We got to join this too. So you've got this gigantic mess that is World War One.
And I know even today, we've got mutual agreements. Different countries have mutual agreements, right? Whatever alliances. But shouldn't there be somebody tracking these? Like, on a dry erase board is like, dude, whatever we do,
those things in the crime
France
shows,
is the one.
The things in the crime shows with the threads that go between this and that. You'd have one of those. George Washington warned us. He said when upon his leaving office, he said, "Beware of entangling alliances." Little did they know how prescient George Washington was 150 years later.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Absolutely. What else we got, my friend?
Well, that's the Archduke Ferdinand. One piece, I think we have a couple minutes. One piece that I really like from the story is that the story of his wife, right? So, when you hear about like these royal hookups, it's usually their priority is finding an heir or kind of hooking, joining two nations, right? It's usually political, but he really loved his wife, and actually as a fiance, he courting her was quite a controversy because she was lower class, but he didn't care. And basically for him, he marries her, and for him to take the throne, after his uncle commits suicide and his father dies of typhoid, I think it is, they say you can't take the throne unless you denounce your heirs. So basically your royalty cuts off with you. If you want to stay married to her and you want to take the throne, none of your children will have any royal line below you. So that was the agreement that he made, and he did it quite willingly, because he wasn't gonna leave Sophie. He wasn't gonna pull like a Henry VIII and try to get rid of her somehow. He stuck with her, and from there cut the royal lineage.
He married for love. He
married for love. It doesn't always happen in those political.
Beautiful story. Crappy end, granted.
Yeah.
He married
sad
for
ending.
love.
Yeah.
So what are we going to have this coming week, Mark? What's our next podcast looking like, sir?
So next week is 4th of July. So I think we're diving into something around the Revolutionary War, right? I think we're going to dig into that.
Yes, I like this a lot.
Yeah, it feels appropriate. So we'll give you a little 20-minute tidbit about something related to the Founding Fathers and the United States independence. So
I like this a lot, Mark. I like this a lot. Everyone go pick up any kind of, if you need reading material suggestions, let us know. We'll lead you towards some things about Archduke Franz Ferdinand, his wife Sophie, and this crazy little event that started World War One. Meanwhile, we'll see you next week, won't we, sir?
We will. Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.
Yeah.